3 stories of harvesting from the land. Most recently, I had a freezer hooked up to my solar array and was powering it through my solar array. I had almost $700 worth of seafood and an entire deer in my freezer. Fresh, wholesome deer, harvested near the land that you're seeing right now. My brother, who had also invested in the seafood, we decided, hey, we're going to have a seafood night. Let's go get some of the seafood out. I raised up the freezer, and the stench almost knocked me down. My freezer, again, I take ownership of this. It had come unkicked from the cable, and I lost an entire freezer full of venison and seafood. Needless to say, my brother wasn't happy because he also lost his investment. Story number 2. A few years ago, I had a freezer. It served me well for many years. It quit. The motor was still running. Every time I walked by, until I finally noticed it was never shutting off. I lifted the lid. Everything inside was rotted. Some of the, again, venison harvested off this very land. Third story. I had a freezer, a stand-up freezer out in my garage. That freezer, the door had become ajar enough that it looked closed, but it had a gap all the way down, and it was fully open that far, all the way to top to bottom. I had a beef in it that was harvested off this very land. I lost the entire section that was in the door. The inside looked like an apocalypse of icicles and dangling condensation, because this was August in Tennessee. If you know, you know. Lost it. I mean, some of the steaks in the very back, because the freezer was running non-stop, they were fine. Almost freezer burnt, but they were fine. What if there was an app that said, hey, your refrigerator or your freezer not pulling any voltage at all, or your refrigerator or your freezer is not shutting off, but it's not pulling enough watts to justify the compressor running? Or in the last story, which is true, by the way, your freezer is running non-stop 24 hours a day. It's August, and it's just running and running and running and running. What if there was a company that cared enough to put all that together in an app? What if there was a company that saw the need for home preservation and home refrigeration backup and said, you know what, we're going to take the lead on this? What if that company was a leader in lithium iron phosphate batteries? What if that company had a proven record for customer support? And that company said, you know what, we're going to take care of this need. What if that company was Bluetti? I'm going to be introducing to you Bluetti's new FridgePower. An 1800 watt lithium iron phosphate unit designed for your refrigerator. It has other applications, I can assure you. But what if they said, hey, you know what? We're going to pair that up with a blue cell battery that's also 2016 watt hours. And then you can do it again. And then you could do it again. Up to 8,064 watt hours of backup power. So I'm going to introduce to you the FridgePower. And when I'm done, you're going to understand why I'm a Bluetti man. Hi, we're back. These are my two best friends now. This is the Bluetti FridgePower, and this is the companion that can be added up to 3 times the Blue Cell 200 battery unit. When you first get these, you're going to want to charge them up 100%, then you discharge them down to 0, and then you can charge them back up to 100% again, and then use as accordingly. When you get the Blue Cell, it's the only one that has a door on the front, on the back rather. You lift it up like this. Now I will say, when I first got this, it took a pretty good little tug to get this up, but it does just lift this way. And then you have these connections, comes in here, and then you also have a comm wire that goes into the side as well for the communication. And then you can just close this down. And by the way, when you first get these, this wire is stiff. And then you close this down, and then you're back in business. Now you can add on to this one again. You can add it to 3 Blue Cells per FridgePower for a total of 8,064 watt hours. So I am going to show you a few other features. On this side, this is a removable screen for cleaning. There's actually a dust filter there, and we're going to look at that here just shortly, but I wanted you to see that. Here, both units have a strap that comes with this to where you can use this as a handle, and you can carry it kind of like a suitcase. I have had that on there, and it does a pretty decent job. Now we're going to look into the back. Right now what I'm doing is just giving you the anatomy of the FridgePower, and we will go from there. Do not look at my dusty refrigerator. This is your reset button. If you ever just have a catastrophic whatever, it's 20 amps. Now this is the power button that they gave us as KOC testers. The button, the plug that you will get, I believe, is going to be coming out at a 90 degree this way, because it's really not practical to come up. It can't come this way because of your receptacle, and obviously it can't come straight down. So they're going to have that to where it goes out at a 90 degree, and I think the other end is going to be a 90 degree as well. And now we move over. We see we have 2 plugs, 2 receptacles here. This is where my refrigerator is plugged in. Here is an exhaust, another exhaust fan for circulation. I believe you can also access this as well and clean in there. Moving on down, here is where your solar comes in. And again, up to 1,000 watts of solar. I do not have nearly that much on my roof for solar, but the solar is working incredibly well. Now we move on down to the Blue Cell, and there's just a blank panel here until you get here, and where the solar would input on the FridgePower, you have this USB-C, I think it is, port, and it comes out. As you can see, it is, yes, USB-C. The watts are there. All right. So the Blue Cell itself does not have any fans or any vents in it. It is just a battery pack. Let's move around to the front. Sorry, I'm making such noise. This is the display one that Bluetti gives you. You tap that and you gotta wait about 2 seconds before it will light up. It gives you all of your information. This red icon says that it's not plugged into the grid right now. They're working on the daylight savings time. This tells you how long it will last. If I open up the freezer, you can see that it starts the output will come on. There's a few seconds delay, and then the how long the batteries will last will update from there. To do the Bluetooth, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll see your Bluetooth icon come up. I will say, it just there it is. I got it. It's hard to film it and do it at the same time. All it really does is it comes up and it tells you what version, if you need to update the version of the software or not. It does not feed any of this information, the time, humidity and the house. That does not feed that into the app. This is not a touch screen. There's nothing you can do to make it a touch screen. And now I'm going to turn on the power, and you'll see the difference that it has whenever the power is applied. Turn it on. You hear the click. That light goes off, and now your grid light comes on. Obviously, when you got the solar in during the daytime, the grid for the solar comes on as well. This is the this D1 portion of this video, and let's move on to project number next. All right, here's the part where I make talky things with my mouth and you guys listen. First off, I listened to my video of me in the pasture the other day when I made that video, and I understand it. I understand I sound like pure cornbread. I understand that it is lithium ion phosphate, lithium ion phosphate, lithium ion phosphate. I can say the words. My Tennessee Appalachian accent just kind of kicks in every once in a while. So don't jump me in the comments for that. All right, I got more notes. All right, so the FridgePower is going to be just under it's going to be 13.78 inches wide. So just slightly over 13 3/4 inches wide. It is going to be 3.07 inches tall. That is without the feet, the little screw-in feet, that's without them. And the length is 22.83 inches. So almost 23 inches. It is very slim, very compact. I did not have to do any modifications to my cabinets whatsoever to get it to slide in there. I got lucky, and I mean I got lucky by 5/16 of an inch. Some people in we had a key opinion customer group on the Facebook app, and this is Bluetti gave us these units to play with and try to destroy. And some of us tried our best to do just that. Behave yourself. So I will say this first and foremost, having said that, and the disclaimer, on page 12 in the handy dandy manual that they give you, it says wood, concrete, no other. Okay? So in the manual it says do not be trying to mount this on drywall. It's not recommended. So congratulations, I just blew anyone out of the water. So I didn't know. Mine's the first video to come out on the subject, you know. I will go ahead and give you some of the statistics on some of the again, it will take in 1,000 watts on solar. That is limited to 20 amps. It will, if the unit is bone dead, zero, and you're just charging it without the blue cell, you could probably charge it in about 3 hours. They'll give you all the statistics. It really is a great unit. So on the solar input, it will do 12 to 60 volts on a current of 20 amps maximum. And that said, it'll take up to 1,000 watts of solar coming in. I had in my units what I refer to as twilight clicking, which is where it would come click, 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 click during the twilight hours of the morning and in the evening. No one else in the group experienced that. However, my Apex also experiences that as well. So there is that. It does have the extreme weather alert on it. I was getting during the winter. We got these units just right before Christmas. I mean, it was literally Christmas here at my house because I got these unexpectedly. Like they said, oh, we got a tracking number. I had no idea. And poof, these things were at my house in days, not even a week, but right before Christmas. So all throughout the Tennessee winter that we had, I've got the extreme weather alerts. I'll say this on the extreme weather alerts. You have to put in at least the street that you live on, or else the extreme weather alert will not try to give you an extreme weather alert. It needs to know, you can't just put in a zip code because not everywhere in the world has a zip code, and you understand that the Bluetti engineers, they're writing an app that tries to cover the whole planet, which is very hard to do. Some of the members in our group were experiencing problems with the unit not staying online with their cloud. And I haven't experienced that every single time, no matter where I've been at. I've logged on to look at my FridgePower, and it's been right there. I have had no connections issues whatsoever. I like the unit. It does have turbo mode and it has standard mode. Turbo mode looks like it's about 1,440 watts. You can, between solar and AC input, get up to 2,200 watts. That's really firing it in there. I don't know that I would do that, but you can. Like I said, I use all my stuff on silent mode just because it's just nicer, easier in my opinion. You have the two outlets. You got 1,800 watts between the two outlets. Going through a few things. A lot of the issues that we were having in our group, and I hate to say this, but it's the truth, it's because they weren't reading the manual. There was a couple of issues in the group. I'm like, I was able to help out just a little bit because I looked it up in the manual. So do read the manual from cover to cover. It is a plethora of information. Let's see, we have We have 26 pages just in English for this unit. There's a lot of good information in there. I like it. I can say that when it comes to my experiences with the FridgePower, the converter is just absolutely beyond reproach. It is great. Also, I'm trying out new glasses. So see if you like these for reading glasses, or you like the wire rim. Leave a note in the comments which one of these you like. Personally, I'm thinking of these because I can do the Jordan the Stallion thing. And what? Oh my goodness, that wasn't supposed to happen yet. But anyways, like I said, on the FridgePower, whenever it comes to preserving these guys, the FridgePower, I can say with my own experience, is one smoking hot unit. Okay, real quick, let's go over what you get in the box. First off, you get the classic Bluetti double boxing, always a sign of a company that takes pride in their work. You get your warranty. You get your owner's manual. You get this packet, which I've got all flayed out here. You also get your power cord. In this packet, you get, this is the strap that I was telling you about that goes on the side if you want to carry it like a suitcase. It actually does a pretty good job. It's relatively thick, I would imagine, pleather. You also get these these little feet that can screw into the bottom if you have some unlevel terrain or something and you need to screw these in to kind of make everything better. They are most certainly not required for ventilation. You get these 4 screws and then these 5 bolts. That is for wall mounting. You take this, you put it in the wall. This part mounts to the FridgePower unit. This part mounts to the wall. It hooks over the top. You've got this little piece that's what the 5th one is for. It comes in at the top and then mounts. Well, actually, it mounts like that and holds the FridgePower down so it can't get bumped out of the wall. Again, I do not recommend using these on drywall. The manual says do not use it on drywall. So if Jerry and the manual tells you not to do it, you shouldn't do it. And when Jerry refers to himself in the 3rd person, you know Jerry is serious. It all comes well packaged. Again, form-fitting styrofoam. This stuff is always incredibly well packaged. I made a video of my eggs cooking and I accidentally deleted it. So what I am going to do is I am going to turn my skillet back on and I'm going to hit my toaster and I'm going to unplug the cord so that it's just the FridgePower. And then I'm going to open up the freezer. Maybe I can get it to kick on right quick. But we're using almost 1600 watts. And the fan is just slightly kicking on now. So it has a surge of over 3000 watts. Well over, actually. It is kicking up there just a little bit, but we've got, we're pulling 1562, but it's a strong inverter, folks. Peace out. One last shameless plug. If you're seeing this on YouTube, give me a subscribe on my channel. I've got 53 subscribers. I'd love to make that 57 or something. Leave a note in the comments, like it, all that good stuff. I think Matthew Kraft is going to be doing out a video on his channel, so be sure and check him out if you can. And we'll see you all on the flip side. Bluetti FridgePower. It's coming out. The campaign, the launch begins mid-April. And probably you'll be getting delivery midsummer, I would imagine. I'm guessing. But the launch starts in mid-April. And peace. Subscribe. I need that.